All right, welcome back, Prospect Live viewers. We are back with another 2020 MLB Draft Player Breakdown. Up today is Pete Crow Armstrong, outfielder from Harvard Westlake in California. Name that I think pretty much everybody that's even somewhat familiar with the draft knows. Of course, to break him down, someone that's seen him many, many times, courtesy of perfectgame.org. That is PG's National Scouting Coordinator, Brian Sakowski. Will pull up the video here of Pete Crow Armstrong. All right, Brian, talk to me a little bit about what the kids like to call PCA and why he's a buzzy name.
He's a guy who's been known for a while. Has done Team USA stuff throughout his prep career. He's won gold medals in various international events, and he's always been one of those Team USA guys that, as they go through their high school careers, obviously they're the first people you think of when it comes to the draft. I got to see quite a bit of him at the National High School Invitational NHSI last spring as an underclassman, but it was still, on a really good Harvard Westlake team. He was the best player. It's a left-handed hitting outfielder. The instincts are really, really high end. He can run. He can really defend in center. The arm's not a plus tool, but it's fine out there. But what we were kind of hoping to see from him, and what we didn't see pretty much throughout the summer circuit, was him to show any kind of power. It was similar concerns to fellow SoCal left-handed hitter Bryce Terang of a couple years ago. Really wanted to see that power out of that left-handed bat. You can see in the video he's a slender kid. He's an athletic guy. There's not a ton of strength there yet. But at the same time, scouts need to see, if we're going to invest a lot of money, let's see you turn on a ball. Let's see if we can project some power there. So that kind of had him down boards a little bit, I'd say, coming into the spring. But then in the early going, before the pandemic hit and before the shutdown and everything, the scouts out in Southern California were telling us, hey, man, he's looking stronger. He's hitting the ball harder. He's swinging with more intent. He's trying to pull the ball. He's trying to hit the ball out sometimes. So that, I think that's kind of brought him back up boards. And right now I don't think you're talking about him in the same breath as you are a Veen or a Hendrick or even a Robert Hassel, but he could be right there in that next mix with maybe a Soderstrom or something like that. One of the super really good prep left-handed hitting outfielder class that we randomly find ourselves in here in 2020.
So you sort of, slot him behind, and obviously everyone can go and look at your rankings to find this out, but I'm going to put you on the spot and ask the question anyway. But you sort of slot him behind Veen, Hassel, Hendrick in terms of that category. And is a lot of that the lack of the power, though the exit velocity numbers on your site, I mean, you look at it, he's got good exit velocity numbers. It's just, it seems like it's an inside-out approach, heavy, like opposite field kind of contact at this point, and making plays with his legs. Is that correct?
Yeah. And it's a thing that we always thought that it was in there. You could see the bat speed, you could see the hands, you could see like, hey, if this guy's approach adjusts a little bit, we can see him hitting for power. We know he's going to get stronger. We know he's not going to be 172 pounds forever or whatever it is. He's wiry framed a little bit, but I think there's still a pretty fair bit of physical projection there. But yeah, I think that's really it is, despite the defensive and the instinctual impact, he's behind the other guys in terms of what ultimately is your biggest value. He's behind them in terms of what we think is going to be offensive impact. So, and that could all change in 6 months if he's all of a sudden 195 pounds and with plus raw. I look like a moron. But, we'll see. All we're doing here is doing our best to take educated guesses.
Absolutely. And I guess the last question that I always ask is, do you think there's any chance he does get on campus at Vandy, or is this a guy that's going to sign?
I mean, generally speaking, Vanderbilt commits are tougher signs. I don't think it's on the level of Virginia or Duke, maybe even Stanford, those type of places. But Vanderbilt guys, you see it every year. And just in the past couple of years, Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter got to campus. Both were easy multi-million-dollar bonus guys out of high school. So I'm not going to say no, that there's no chance. I certainly think there's a chance, but yeah, I mean, the expectation, as far as I'm aware, is that he will be drafted in the first round and sign.
Well, there you have it. Pete Crow Armstrong, our latest breakdown on these MLB draft player breakdowns. Thanks again, Brian, for joining us. And up next is Garrett Crochet.